Hello everybody, Pacey here again with another vlog. It's actually Monday. It's actually early on Monday, OMG. It's 10 past 10 in the morning on the 6th of August 2012. And the reason I'm even up now doing a vlog is I actually just finished watching the last game of the MLG Summer Arena. I won't spoil it for you, but I just finished watching the last game. I highly recommend you check out all of the VODs actually from that weekend. They'll be made available publicly on Wednesday in the States, so I guess Thursday sometime here. And yep, definitely towards the end of the week you'll be able to check the games out. Really good. I think a lot of people were talking about the first set of three games, like the first series, because they played it's really cool actually. They had 4 teams and they each played 3 games, not a best of 3. They played 3 games, and then the top 2 teams advanced after a round robin, so each team played each other. And then the 2 teams with the best records in the tournament, which is why they had to play all 3 games, advanced top 2 for the finals, which was, I guess I can spoil for you a little bit, was TSM versus Azubu Blaze. But that was the final. And then the series they actually played initially on the first day was really good as well. A lot of people were talking about that, so definitely recommend you go check out the MLG Summit Arena. Actually, I really like the way arena events work, and MLG Rally is actually in a few weeks, so there are 12 qualified teams now, mostly, if not all, North American actually. And I actually like how arena kind of works as a boot camp. It's obviously the production value is very high, and the event's really nice. You got to fly the players and stuff, but an event like that is actually significantly less expensive than the big events where you got to hire a big venue and stuff like that. I think they even did it at the MLG offices. Obviously, paying for teams, paying for casters and stuff like that would be expensive. The production value is very high, so they had to put all that in place. But it's just cool to have like a small event that's based solely for the players. And I actually really like what MLG's been doing. They did this for StarCraft as well, obviously trialing, I think, Winter Arena a few months back, maybe 6+ months back then. And it's just nice to have this kind of events, especially leading up to another big MLG event like MLG Rally. So, you know, we've kind of got Team Solomid in particular, I guess, and both Curse and TSM, who played at a Summer Arena, will be playing at Rally. So it's cool to kind of see those teams play some other teams, see how they're looking, and then you can kind of look at that going into MLG Rally. So yeah, I mean, it's a big month for League of Legends internationally. Obviously, Season 2 is approaching in October, I think. It's on the way. It's definitely a few months away. Very close now, and we're pretty busy here in Australia as well, which is, I guess, most of what I'll be talking about today. There's been some team changes happen in Australia. I'll talk about more on that on FaceCheck tonight, which if you're watching this today on Monday, will be 8 PM tonight, right after my cast at 7 PM. But basically, yeah, I don't want to go too in depth on team changes, but all I'll say, and that I'll probably repeat tonight, and that I've been saying, is that any change is ultimately this type of change is ultimately good for Australian League of Legends, because at the end of the day we have one extra pro team basically. So yeah, for those of you who don't know what happened, tune to FaceCheck tonight, or catch the archive at GameStar if you've missed it. But that'll be happening, and we'll talk about that more tonight, definitely. But pretty much what I'm going to talk about today is a little bit about MLG, what's happening in Australia esports wise, and just a bit on casting as well. There's actually not too much happening in terms of player news and stuff like that, or team news. I mean, there's a bit, but again, I'll be talking about that later tonight. Yeah, and pretty much what I want to talk about was, first of all, thanks to everyone who replied to the last vlog I did. The player response is really good, and I think that means that a lot of players recognize where I'm coming from, and that it is an issue that I think needs to be looked at and resolved. Hang on, let me just do this real quick. There we go. Yeah, and that was great. The response was that. This one will be significantly shorter though, which I guess you can be happy about, even though you're like 4 minutes into it now, and obviously I'm telling you now that it's going to be short. Not very useful. Anyway, MLG. So that was MLG. Right now we have started the Alienware, the ANZ Alienware Game Victorious tournament. Haven't quite nailed the name on that one yet. We'll definitely get to that. But yeah, that's a month-long, basically playoffs culminating in a like a top 8 final. So the top 8 teams. It's basically an open ladder for 4 months. For 1 month, sorry, for 4 weeks. And the top 8 teams with the highest points will advance to the final, which has some pretty juicy cash prizes actually, and it's all going to be online for the most part, which will be sweet. But we started that. We had I had my first cast of that. I think even the opening game for LoL as well, yesterday, which was Mind Freak versus the Adventure Club, which will be up on GameStar soon-ish once we get some website issues sorted. So if anyone is, people have been asking about games and stuff, and I'm just having some issues getting some files in and stuff. So we'll sort that out soon. Don't worry. And the file archives will be updated soon. There's just a lot of content to go through. We've just been really busy, obviously, organising a lot of the Alienware stuff. But tournaments have been good. It's going to be a really busy 4 weeks. The game should get really interesting because unlike, say, like CG Ladder, which is mainly just for fun and for ranking, positioning, a bit of exposure as well. You definitely get exposure in the Australian scene, placing high on the ladder. But obviously there's a top 8. And you can't. I don't think you can win cash. At least you possibly can win prizes, but you don't really win anything unless you make it to the second stage of the tournament. So obviously, every team wants to be in the top 8 and get a chance to go for that prize. So as the weeks get on and the points get closer, it's going to be really interesting to see the challenges that happen, the teams that play off against each other, and kind of what happens there in terms of. Who's going to make it and who's not. And we should see some pretty dramatic games. But other than that, there's just a ton of content coming out. Like we have, I think, 4 games tonight that we'll be streaming just for LOL, and there's a lot of Dota 2 as well. If you guys like that as well. But yeah, pretty much there's a lot of coverage. Keep checking GameStar. Keep looking at my Twitter and stuff, and the GameStar Twitter as well, to be updating when the cast will be going live. But basically, it's cool. It's just nice to have a kind of a big tournament series where the ladder actually matters, I guess. Not that, again, I've talked about CG Ladder a lot, certainly on Face Check and with the players and that. And it's just nice to have. Like, it's cool that the ladder exists and it gives us something to do, but this type of tournament is very cool. And it'll be nice to see even an extended version of this, like a full season, say 3 months worth of playoffs, where we have a big final, which was kind of what the ESGN In-Time League was trying to do. I don't know what's happened to that, actually, because we were supposed to start our second season ages ago, but with that before as precedent, and with this tournament now as well, this playoff style is like really good, and I like how this works. And it would be nice to get regular seasons of events going in Australia, just because there's nothing quite like having regular content. And I think that's probably one of the biggest advantages that Australia has over the US and the European market. I mean, Europe has Go for LOL for both their servers, which is pretty big, so that happens a lot as well. And there's lots of other little tournaments that, like ESL, for example, does a big job streaming out. But just having, like, again, trying to make it more like professional sports. Actually, I was on Kill Stolen yesterday as well, on Sunday. I don't know when the episode's going to be up, but I highly recommend you check it out. It's episode 13. It was awesome. It was the first webcam/video episode they've done. I know they're having a little bit of trouble editing it and getting the sound in and all that. They're just finding the right file type, but really good episode. And I talked a lot about sorry, I was a guest. I should probably reiterate. And I talked a lot about comparing esports to professional sports, and how esports needs to move more towards professional sports if it wants to make it big and be the big industry that we all know it can be. And having stuff like regular seasons and leagues really helps, because again, there's nothing quite like producing regular content. If you're a broadcaster and people like your work, you can get more of that out there. If you're a tournament organizer, if you're a team, your sponsors will constantly see your teams in there and stuff, assuming they do well, or even maybe they don't do that well. But it's just nice to have that dynamic there and have that kind of constant exposure, and just keeping people up to date between big tournaments. And again, I think Australia does that really well, and I think that's a big thing in our scene, and I'd like to see these leagues grow and get bigger, divide them up, even so we've got a Pro League, an AM League, and Open League, kind of again what ESGN In-Time Online season was trying to do. But just leagues are awesome, and that's the one thing I can say that I loved about CG Ladder, and still do, even though kind of busy right now doing Alienware, is that CG Ladder just promoted a lot of games every week. Like, there was no shortage of games to cast at varying levels, but there was just no shortage of games. And as a caster, getting the opportunity to practice is really good. Obviously, as a community and as spectators, it's great for you guys to kind of get constant input, see these teams update, and especially for a game like League of Legends, having consistent tournaments is actually pretty important, because it changes so much. With a new champion coming every fortnight or thereabouts, it's just really important to have coverage and kind of see the game constantly evolve. And again, it just keeps your community happy. At least I hope it does. And going forward, I think the professionalization of those type of leagues, the structure, the way they run, and just the number of them, and all that kind of stuff, is going to increase. So I'm pretty excited about that. And if this Alienware tournament works well, hopefully there'll be another one that Alienware will come in with again, because it's great to have them on board, definitely as a sponsor. They're kind of everything they touch, I'd say, turns to gold. Like, they're a very big sponsor, but they don't touch a whole lot of events for the most part, and it's nice to actually have them here for this one. So big ups to them. And yeah, maybe we'll see Alienware sponsored seasons coming up, maybe in conjunction with other sponsors. Who knows? But the with these style of events, players seem to respond to them really well. And yes, it's nice to have big lands and all that, but online tournaments, in particular online leagues, are really good, and hopefully we'll be seeing that progression, within the next 6 to 12 months, I'll say. Other than that, just kind of wrapping up, that's pretty much what's going on for the most part. So Alienware is where you want to be for your Australian League of Legends coverage right now. Other than that, yeah, MLG was really great. Demand and Quickshot did a fantastic game casting. I think they had Optimus Tom and somebody else doing some casting as well, but I only saw Quickshot and Demand cast. I just only got to Tears Name versus Ubu Games, which was pretty funny. But yeah, it was a really great tournament. I'm going to look forward to actually watching back through it and watching the rest of it. If you don't have an HD pass, well, it's come out on about Thursday or so, Wednesday in the States. But yeah, just for me, they're great casters. Quickshot in particular, who I'd never heard cast before, really impressed me. And it's just nice to hear someone that makes you want to realize what, kind of as a player, when you see a better player play on stream or play in a tournament, you're like, wow, I want to be more like that guy. For casters, we don't get that opportunity as much, but certainly for me, I looked at Quickshot and went, I want to be more like that guy, because he just did a fantastic job, and I love Demand as well. No slight to him at all, he did a great job, but I've seen him cast plenty of times. And Quickshot was kind of just one of those people that I looked at and was like, guy's pretty good. So yeah, definitely it's going to be a long month worth of casting. I'll be broadcasting a ton, which is good for me. I like it. Hopefully it's good for the rest of you as well. Yeah, if you want to check that out, of course. The streams, the main stream is twitch.tv/ANZVictorious, I believe. Yes, that is the name of the stream. And of course, GameStar TV1, so twitch.tv, GameStar TV1, twitch.tv, GameStar TV2, and GameStar TV3 are all being used. So those are the streams you want to look out for. But pretty much, if I'm broadcasting, I'll usually post it on Twitter, and you can find it on GameStar's Twitter as well. So at Pastry Time for me, at GameStar for them. Yeah, I guess that's it. Just casting a lot. It's going to be interesting to see this next month, and then there's I know a lot of things planned for September, October as well. So lots and lots of stuff is happening. And yeah, it should be a pretty busy 3 months at least, because this month's definitely going to be busy. And of course, ESL Australia actually launches in 2 weeks, I think, as well, which should be pretty massive. And even for non-league stuff, there's WCS, the big WCS StarCraft event is on this coming weekend. That's nuts. Which should be pretty insane as well. Hopefully, I will be there for a little bit. I'll see what I can do. I do want to go, so we'll see what I can muster up. But I will certainly be available and around. So hopefully I'll be there watching a bit of StarCraft, taking a bit of a break, because I do love myself some esports, and it should be a pretty sweet event as well. Yeah, I guess that's it for me. I think this is probably going a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but that's okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Alienware is awesome. Big ups to the MLG guys, they did a great job. And yeah, we'll talk more about Team Changes on FaceCheck if you guys want to get a little bit more into that. Anyway, that's it for me for today. From today's, I don't know. That's it for me from today, for today's vlog. I guess that's what I'm going with, or vlog. I like vlog more. Yeah, that's going to be it. So vlog number 9 out. Pastry, goodbye. Oh, buttons over here.